When the Viper concept car was unveiled to the public in 1989, it stunned the world. It was built as a modern reinterpretation of the original Shelby Cobra, but with an exaggerated design that intrigued would-be buyers. When the production car first arrived in 1992, it did not disappoint. 400 horsepower and the giant V10 engine made them an instant success. The second generation Viper was released in 1996 and brought about a much more user-friendly and reliable car, with the same wild design of its predecessor, but some additional horsepower. The most sought after of the second generation Viper is the first year of production, the 1996, and especially in the iconic blue and white striped livery that is reminiscent of the Shelby Cobra. They are powered by an 8-liter V10 that is good for almost 450 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of torque, and all came with a 6-speed Tremec T56 manual transmission. There's a few different ways to identify a first generation versus a second generation Viper. The big one being the roof. If it has a hardtop, it's a second generation, especially with the double bubble design, which was first designed to allow for space for your racing helmets. So, it was started as a race car thing, but it spilled over to the street cars. Another way to tell the difference is the first generation had a very smooth and sleek hood, whereas the second generation has these air inlets on each side. And from the rear, you could tell the difference because it has the exhaust coming out the middle of the car, whereas the first generation had the 2 side pipes. Now, this car still has the exhaust running along the side of the car, however, it's hidden now instead of exposed. And having it hidden, you're more likely to burn yourself on the side of it because you don't realize that they're getting hot and it's right there. If you have an exposed side pipe, you're aware of it. When it's hidden, you're a little more likely to hit your leg on it. So that's definitely something to watch out for after a long drive in one of these cars. One solution to the hot side pipes, they make a ceramic fiber that you can actually wrap around them. So, you just take it to a specialty shop and they will put the ceramic wrap on it and it will cut down on the heat and make sure you don't burn yourself. The V10 engine in this thing produces a lot of heat. So one thing to look out for when buying these cars is it burns through cats pretty quick. So you want to make sure it's a high flow catalytic converter. This car has less than 7,000 miles, so it's not something you have to watch out for with this car with low miles. But the ones that have been driven more, it's definitely something you have to take into consideration when purchasing one of these cars. In the test version of this car, they tried out a V8 engine, but they pretty quickly decided to do the 10-cylinder instead. So when the first generation, before it was released to the public in early 1991, Carroll Shelby piloted the test car in the Indy 500, and then later that year, the car was released to the public. The hood on this car is pretty massive, and it's not your normal kind of pop a latch and open the hood. Because it's so large, it's a multi-step process. The first step is pretty standard. You reach in here and you simply pop the little latch. Then you reach under here and you unhook this latch and lift this. Once you've popped this, you come over to the front of the car here and you lift from the center and you just open it up and it will stay like that. And these hoods, the clamshell design, because it's so large and so intricate, they're the most expensive hoods in American muscle cars, ranging about $10,000. Driving this car, it's lovely that it's a modern car. It has that kind of feel of an older car in certain ways, but it has the ease of use of a more modern car. It shifts super smooth. The clutch is not too stiff, and it just drives really well. Plus, it starts right up and never gave us a single issue the whole time while driving. It has lots of power. It's interesting because first gear, it pulls all right, but it isn't until second gear that you really get the torque and the power out of it. So it's kind of higher up the gears you go, the more power you feel out of the car, which is awesome. It's a great driving experience. To tie together the American muscle cars and the Ferraris that I usually deal with, both the Fiat Auto Group and Chrysler Auto Group were run by Sergio Marchionne. And Marchionne was well known for taking Fiat when they were in the hole and in just 2 years turning the company around and making them super profitable. So back in about 2012, he took the Viper and kind of reinvented and remarketed it and turned it around and made it profitable again. Marchionne was very well known for that, and that was, what made him such a star. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. We have a lot more content coming out very soon.